What's up? If you're unaware, these videos are things that you may or may not have missed. There's usually a different number of things, but for the most part, you should be able to find at least one thing that I mention from my own thoughts and perspective and commentary and analysis and all of that good stuff. There should be at least one thing that you may have missed, or maybe some idea that I put into your head that is at least considered new. But all that aside, please, if you enjoy this kind of content and you enjoy my channel, help me combat YouTube delisting me and basically shadow banning me. If you don't believe me, go into incognito mode so that your own YouTube account and what you watch doesn't affect the search. But then go into incognito mode and type in House of the Dragon and you'll see none of my videos show up. So if you enjoy my stuff, help me stay alive and strive. And all you have to do is just slap a like, subscribe, and then make sure you have your notifications turned on. And if you're a really, really big fan, consider checking out my Patreon. A big special thank you to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/reviews. Now, you may not know this, but HBO actually hired me to play the role of Laenor, and when Laenor's on the back of his dragon Sea Smoke, that's actually me, your boy, Sir Hunts, and I named that dragon Sea Smoke because the like goal for this video is going to be 420. No, I'm just kidding. That's Theo Nate. But no, for real, the entirety of the battle in the Stepstones was just amazing. Damon pulling the Jon Snow vibes, where Jon Snow runs to save his buddy Rickon, his brother Rickon, and he literally is about to commit a self-sacrifice. Damon does that too, except for he actually faces consequences and shows you what Damon is about. Damon is about that life. Alright, now I mentioned this briefly in my live stream, speaking of which, that's linked down below in the description, but now that I've seen Dark Sister up close and in action, literally Damon killed like 20 people, I think Dark Sister's Longclaw, and I think I'm going to do a video on it, but I'm pretty sure that Dark Sister's Longclaw in show canon. If you're unaware, Dark Sister, spoilers, spoiler warning, Damon is going to die. It's not that big of a spoiler warning, but when he dies, Dark Sister is retrieved and eventually gets into the hands of this dude, Bloodraven. Bloodraven, or Three-Eyed Raven on the TV show, sort of turns Breanne into who he is. Bloodraven, who owned Dark Sister, is said to have gone to the wall when he's sent there by King Aegon, Egg the Unlikely, right? He's sent there to the wall for committing treason instead of dying, and when he goes there, he takes Dark Sister with him, and that's the last known whereabouts of Dark Sister. Now, who else is at the wall? House Mormont, specifically Jeor Mormont. Jeor is Jorah's father, and he has in his possession House Mormont's ancestral Valyrian steel sword, Longclaw. Now, it's like, there's a lot of gaps to fill in there. Like I said, I'm going to make a video on it. But let me know what you think down below. Is Dark Sister Longclaw? I mean, it looks strikingly similar. And Longclaw is a bastard sword. And Dark Sister is said to be the same idea of like a small, slender blade that may have even originally been designed for a woman. It was wielded by Visenya, the original King Aegon the Conqueror's sister wife. Now, I will say I did see some rhetoric in my live stream. I did a live stream with my buddy Ray. And someone, and himself included, thought that it was a bit underwhelming, and I will say that I could kind of agree with that sentiment. But when you realize what happened in the books, in the Stepstones, not really that exciting. What they did on the TV show fits it perfectly. It didn't need to take up more than a 1 or 2 episode chunk, and the fact that they build up to it over the past 2 episodes, episode 1 and 2, we keep hearing about this crab feeder, right? It was handled flawlessly. Like, we got to see a little bit of a battle with Damon and Caraxes at the beginning of the episode, but then the real majority of the meat was saved with no jumps for the most part for the end of the episode. Like, we didn't jump to go find out what was going on with Viserys and Rhaenyra and Alicent, right? We got to get all of the War of the Stepstones. And you got to realize that Damon is only down there for about 2 years. After he kills Prince Kragus Drahar, the crab feeder, after he kills him in single combat and beheads him, and this show took it a step further, he literally bodies him, he debodies him, he bodies him, because he cuts him in half, by means 2, I think, right? He bodies Kragus, and it was perfect, because that arc didn't happen. Damon didn't, like, walk into the lion's den, so to speak. He did defeat him in single combat, but he didn't take that many arrows. He didn't risk his dragon not being around. Like, they just made this so much more intense, and I loved everything about it. You all let me know what you think. Do you think it was boring, or do you think it was one of the most exciting things of this show so far, like myself? Now, another scene that I want to explain, or something you may have missed, is that the reason why Damon is upset and basically commits heinous atrocities on this House Targaryen guardsman is because in the letter that just handed him is basically saying like, hey, Damon, I know you're losing, and without my help, you would lose even more, but I'm going to help you. I'm sending men your way. They're on their way. Just kind of hold out, right? And that's when Damon goes on that sort of suicide mission, right? It's amazing because Matt Smith doesn't say any words in this entirety. Like, it's all on facial expressions and body language, and he does an amazing job. The reason why he freaks out on this House Targaryen guardsman is because he's tired of his brother doing one of two things: not allowing him to show strength in House Targaryen, and then also not allowing him to do what Viserys knows deep down should be done. And one of them is committing the war in the Stepstones because it's directly affecting the Crown's allies, House Velaryon. They should go get rid of the Triarchy and Kragus Crabfeeder because it's literally going to eventually get worse and worse and worse, right? Deep down, Viserys knows Damon is right and knows Corlys is right, and that's one of the things that just frustrates Damon, and he's just got all that emotion tied into it, like, Daddy Viserys is going to come save you, so he just takes it out on the person nearest him. And you probably knew that if you're watching this. I just thought I would explain that further. Now, right now, I just want to take the time to say Emily Carey's performance in this episode was just flawless. Her character is my favorite next to Damon. I'm supposed to like Rhaenyra. Millie Alcock is doing an amazing job. She looks perfect. Her hair, the wig, the body language, the demeanor on screen, everything about this character that she's added on or that's been added on from the book counterpart is amazing. But I just can't help but just feel everything for Alicent. And it's not just the physical attractiveness. Obviously, yeah, that's part of it, but Emily Carey is doing an amazing job. All right, now for the next part of this video, I kind of want to shift focus to Viserys. 3 things. One is that him not killing the White Hart and the White Hart sort of giving a nod to Rhaenyra is symbolic as hell. Like, Rhaenyra ends up killing a boar, and that boar was the same one. You're right. You know what I'm about to say here. This boar is a time-traveling undead zombie boar, the same one that kills Robert Baratheon. The Kingswood has an infestation of wild boars looking to kill royal, like, next of heir, or in Robert's case, the fucking king, right? Do something about it. Get some tigers in the Kingswood to kill these rampaging, man-killing bears. This is insane. But Rhaenyra took one out and carried it back to the camp and is covered in blood, and that whole scene was just amazing, right? But, and also, while I'm talking about this, I forgot. Look, you see what just happened? As Rhaenyra walks in her badassery, she sees, guess who? Sir Harwin Breakbones Strong. Breakbones, or Break Cervix, he's the father of most of her illegitimate children, according to a lot of people in Fire and Blood. Not just one source, but like all the sources. Also, Laenor, the guy she marries, is gay. I said a spoiler warning like 5 or 6 videos ago, and also in this one. How hard it is for Viserys to accept the spear from the Lannister, knowing he wants to fuck his daughter and wants to marry her and, you know, sort of do what people do in that time, right? He's just going through so much, and it's all makes sense now because he confirms that he has dragon dreams. He doesn't just say, like, hey, you know, this prophecy was passed down from Aegon to every king who sat the Iron Throne since then, and that's that a great threat is going to come from the north. No, he has dragon dreams. The whole reason why he obsessed over making Emma Arryn have so many pregnancies, even though she kept having all these failures and it just killed her, literally, was because he had this vision, and he explains it to Alicent. He said, not verbatim, but he says, you know, I have this dream. I put my heir, my male heir on the throne, and all the dragons roar as one, and it's this great uniting moment, unifying thing. And like, really? No. We get to see a true version of what happens with people who suffer from dragon dreams. In the books, Daenerys is currently suffering from them. In the story, in the backstory, in the lore of this, someone named Dany's the Dreamer. of House Targaryen told her father, Aenar the Exile, in 12 years, the place we're all living in right now, the doom of Valyria is going to, in Valyria, the doom is going to happen, and we're all going to die unless we get out of here. Ever since then, and there's probably other Valyrian families who have dragon dreams as well, but ever since then, the Targaryens have been known to be melancholic, and sometimes it makes them go mad, sometimes it just makes them depressed, sometimes it makes them prophecy obsessed, like King Viserys and Jon Snow's father Rhaegar, right? Anybody who gets these dragon dreams, they have this melancholic attitude about it, and for the most part, it's just amazing. I guess what I'm getting at here is it's amazing that Viserys has it for the TV show. It's just one more thing that Ryan is bringing into the show universe from canon that sort of failed or skipped entirely in the main series. It's just amazing. Please slap a like on this video. Like goal is going to be 420. Now here's an Easter egg. One of them is Joanna Swan. It's referenced when Rhaenyra walks up to who they call Kyra or Kyra. Correct me down below in the comment section. You guys are going to anyway. But the older Lannister woman, who's kind of a Karen, kind of a bitch, right? She says, well, Joanna's been kidnapped, and basically she's got to be ransomed back. Well, if you're unaware, Joanna Swan, right, that character, eventually ends up ruling Lys in all but name. Like, they are sold and work their way up from the bottom. It's a really awesome Easter egg that Ryan Condal, Miguel Sapochnik, and whoever wrote this episode decided to include. We probably won't see much of her, or, aside from that mention, but that's just really cool. And then another one, and I had mentioned this in my live stream, and I know I keep referencing it, but me and Ray went for like 2 hours last night. So if you want something even more in depth than this video, check the link down below and go ahead and go watch that. But the clubfoot, holy crap, his clubfoot is super club. The way he walks made me just be like, wow, dude. I actually felt pity for him. Like, a couple people in my chat were like, oh man, he's creepy as hell. I actually felt pity for him because he's like clearly not allowed to do what the men do, and that's not a big deal. But at that time, it is. So he's like literally forced to sit with the women, which, like I said, that's not normally a big deal, but in that time it is. So we're probably going to see how he's picked on eventually later on in the show. But you got to realize, this dude, the clubfoot, he ends up becoming Varys, right? So he's not just sitting there because he can't help hunt. He probably actually could help a little bit. He could at least stand with the other dudes and maybe get drunk with them. No, he's sitting with the ladies who gossip because he's the master of whisperers. This little son of a bitch and his limp leg and his sitting down next to the women's, right, where Rhaenyra should have taken a seat at, right, where Alicent is currently sitting at. He's collecting all of that information. And I don't think he's going to have little birds like children that work for him like Varys does in the main series, but this is probably how he gets his information. He looks unassuming, and the fact that I told you I felt pity for him is exactly how the ladies felt when he walked up. They're like, yeah, sure, come and join us. You're not a threat at all. Your leg is super hobbled, and he actually makes a point to point that out. So this is all part of his character, all part of that portrayal of, hey, I'm an innocent wallflower type dude, kind of like what Mushroom does, right? So people in House of the Dragon, people in Fire and Blood think Mushroom is what's called a lackwit, so they say information around him. That's kind of what's going on with Larry said Clubfoot. But also, did any of you else think that this dude was Mushroom when he started singing? And then obviously he's not, and like that's his nickname or whatever, but like maybe this could still be Mushroom. Oh my god, we have to see this dude. Mushroom, you have to be in this show, buddy. Where are you? I will say, now that I'm on the subject of Mushroom, skipping ahead to the next video that I make, which will be an episode 4 promo breakdown, I think the street performer may be our first glimpse of Mushroom. Like, there's someone saying, who will it be? The brother or the son? Right? There's someone who's performing magic, right? Because Rhaenyra sneaks out. I've actually broken that down in videos that are also linked down below in the description, right? Rhaenyra sneaks out to go meet up with her uncle, Prince Damon, after he returns from the Stepstones, which we've seen in that preview, and they do some freaky shit, right? So that's where we may see Mushroom. The last little things that I wanted to mention is that, I could be wrong in this, but I think Rhaenyra's horse, that Silver that she rides, is a direct sort of callback to Daenerys' silver that she rides in the first season or two in Game of Thrones and in the books. It's like she's still currently riding. It's like her favorite horse. It's one of the things that allows her to adjust to her situation of being raped and kidnapped with Khal Drogo. So it's crazy to see someone who's closer to Daenerys' age in the books riding a silver mare in these riding leathers that are very similar to Dothraki riding leathers, just way more artisan, like way more in the style of House Targaryen at the height of their power, right? It screamed to me Daenerys in the earlier seasons. And maybe I could be making it up, but also, no, I'm not, because this is a prequel to Game of Thrones. It's in the same universe, and they intentionally want to visually make us remember the main series. I feel like, aside from Daenerys's horse and silver and Rhaenyra combo, one of the other things that stuck out to me is the Lannisters, right? So Sir Hugh of the Vale is playing Jason and Tyland, and without too many spoilers, Jason is perfect in what he's doing. He's doing like this sort of Tyrion half-drunken thing. We got to see Brett Lannister, who was someone who was mentioned in the leaks, but then Tyland becomes the hooded hand, and that's amazing. This is a good point to wrap this video up. I don't want to make it too long. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you want the video longer, well then let me know down below in the comment section, and then also check the description because I already did a 2-hour video or an hour and 45-minute video on this episode with my boy Raised Alpha. Raised for Days is what he's called on YouTube. But thank you for watching. Thank you to every single member of my Patreon family. And my name's Mark. Along that, Sir Hunts. This has been Sir Hunts. This has been Sorensen Reviews. My brain farted there. It really has been a long night.